Buongiorno from Castellamare del Golfo. We're going to head to the hilltop medieval town of Erice. Once settled by the ancient Trojans some thousands of years ago, it became one of the most important cities to conquer on the west coast. We're going to walk on cobblestone streets and explore alleyways once used as getaways. Then we're going to go to a pastry shop where they have sweets with recipes made from hundreds of years ago, originally by nuns. Come with me to Erice. As you enter Erice, on this side, you enter the Porta Trapani, the gate of Trapani. Here we are with our beautiful Azzurra. I want to ask you, there's something so magical about walking the streets, the cobblestone, medieval streets of Erice. Lots of people pass through here.
Yes, we had about 13 different rulers in Sicily, and all of them settled in our Erice. So there are like different layers of civilizations that lived here. But Erice has literally maintained its medieval aspect. So we have cobblestone streets, we have ruins of a Norman castle, we have old churches, convents and monasteries, all dating back to the Middle Ages.
The Eliminians were the original people that actually came from Troy.
From Troy, yes, they were the first settlers. Actually, there's still an open debate among historians to know exactly where they arrived from. But if we trust the tradition from Thucydides, the Greek historians of the 5th century BC, he says that the Elimu people were the refugees of the Trojan War that left their homelands and slowly reached this northwestern corner of Sicily.
And we're talking about 900 before Christ. They arrived here before the Greeks arrived over on the East Coast.
Before the Greeks, because the Greeks arrived on the East Coast in the 8th century BC. Simultaneously, the Phoenicians arrived here in western Sicily, but the Eliminians were already here. So then they met with the Phoenicians, with the local indigenous people, and then with the other civilizations.
And then, as the rest of Sicily, the Romans and the Carthaginians were vying for the city. They understood that Sicily strategically is in a very important spot, and especially Erice.
Especially Erice, because this is the highest spot of this portion of Sicily. From here, they could control a very large territory. Now we enjoy the views, but in the past, it was a way to military control the arrival of enemies.
The name Erice comes from Eric. Erix, who was the ancient Trojan who came here with his brother Aeneas. And during the time of Mussolini, the name was changed to Erice. Before, this town was called San Giuliano. So now you know. There are 38 religious buildings here in Erice. 22 of them are churches, and the rest, you guessed it, convents and monasteries. Why are there so many convents and churches here? The town of 100 churches, but there's only 22.
That's right. That's the name of Erice. It's known as the town of 100 churches, but there are 22. But as the village is so small, we have the impression of having like one church at every single corner. Okay, so these nuns and monks came here and lived here because they could live as hermits, isolated from the rest of the civilization.
As I walk on these roads, cobblestone roads, I think, wow, the ancient people that walk through here, the Eliminians, the Romans, the Carthaginians, the Arabs, the Normans, and then all the other conquerors that came, ending with the Bourbons. But imagine the stories, imagine the history, imagine the people. When you're here on the West Coast, I strongly recommend you come to Erice and visit it. You know, there's a very windy road to get up here, or you can park your car down below and take the cable car up. But definitely put it on your list. Erice is known for its ceramics. And this guy is sitting over here doing it by hand. Look at the intricate work. Ceramica Ericina. You'll see it everywhere. It's very different than the ones from Santo Stefano de Camassa, Caltagirone, or Sciacca. They've got their own style and their own colors. Alleys like this are very symbolic of Erice. You turn this way, this is the main road. And believe it or not, while this is the widest road, it's not straight. It goes zigzag. And I'll tell you exactly why, but I want to show you another one right here. This is another alleyway. And think about it. The Arabs built these alleyways all over Erice because they knew the way. And so if an invader came, they knew exactly what alley to take and where it would take them. And so it would disorient all the invaders that came here. Think about it. I mean, the soldiers would come in these big, armors and shields and swords, and how could they get through some of these alleys? Ancient ingenuity. Incredible. Now, there's an arrow behind me pointing one way, but imagine if you're an invader coming here and you're running down the stairs and you come down here, and behind me you could go down that way. On the side you can come down this way. And so this is like a crossroads over here, 4 different streets you can run up and run away from whoever's coming, whatever invader was coming. It's just really incredible how they put these ancient streets together to be able to escape from any of the invaders. San Giuliano, the mountain we're on, that church on the left is San Giuliano, built by the Normans around 1100. As you can see next to it, very typical Arab dome. So you can see the architecture here is very well kept and preserved. For a small town like this, they sure do a great job keeping very well manicured and very clean. And now we're in an old palace where they have a great lunch area. Look at this floor. And we're going to try and sit right out here on the terrazza. And there's a caponata with almonds. Santo Carlo, Saint Charles. If you come in here, you just have to sit here in silence and listen to his majestic voices. Might not look like much, but this is a convent, the St. Charles Convent, and over here the structure is, well, people wanted to drop their children off for adoption. They put the child right here, and of course it happened mysteriously. The other thing this was used for is the nuns had a secret almond recipe, so you would come here and you would put some money over here and the sweets would come out. And the secret recipe is something we're going to try in just a little bit, but listen to this story. 2 sisters decided to leave the convent and open up, you guessed it, a pastry shop using the ancient recipe. And we're going to check it out now. The Pasticceria di Maria Grammatica. And cast your eyes on this. The fabulous collections of cookies pastries. This is Genoese, which is the most famous of this area. There's the canola. Bello brutto.
Yes, it's just plain almonds. So we don't want no additional flavors like
Bello
chocolate,
brutto.
pistachio, or rum.
And this one is
And
with the
this one
fig.
is the fig biscuits called the buccellati. They're delicious.
Lingua di zucchero, sugar. Cuscinetti, almond sugar, and cedro, that's the ugly lemon.
Yes.
And albune, what is albune?
Albune is the white part of egg.
Ah, okay, egg whites.
Egg whites.
Dolce de liquori, there's the pistachio, pasta reale, we've seen that everywhere, which is
marzipan, what we call marzipan.
another word for marzipan. Great shop.
Fruity is because they have this ugly shape,
But I'm sure
they're
delicious.
belly because they're delicious.
And this is very interesting, tortina paradiso.
It's like paradise.
And-
And frutta martorana made with almond paste. These are piece of art because they look like real fruit.
Beautiful. Look at that cake. Almond, almond, almond. And these are the recipes that Maria took from the convent and that are dating back to the 1300s. Pastries, tapestry, and ceramic.
Yes, the three main local products of Erice. So this is not just a medieval town. There are some local productions and there are the great views from up here.
And the desserts, thanks to the nuns.
Thanks to the nuns of the old convents, yes, they were kept as a secret, all these recipes for local pastries, especially almond pastries. But now we have many pastry shops in Erice, so now the recipes are for everyone.
Here are the rugs, or some examples of the rugs that Erice is so well known for. All handmade, using those machines over there. Very unique ceramics here. And you walk up here and you're rewarded with this view. Nice, huh? Over there is Trapani, straight ahead are the Egadian Islands. And then as you move west, you've got lots of vineyards, lots of olive groves, lots of farms. La Campagna, the farms. But the main part of the city is concentrated down below. If you go straight ahead, you're looking south, reach Africa, if you keep going straight down. Now remember, this town, Erice, is the sister city of Segesta. Segesta was the political headquarters, and here was the religious headquarters of the Eliminian people. Erice, the ancient part over here, is about 2,000 feet above seawater. And this is all that's left of the castle. There's really nothing inside, but at first this was dedicated to Venus. Now it's a majestic castle overlooking the valley. From here you've got a great perspective of the castle and the ruins. Behind that mountain of it there is San Vito lo Capo, and as you go over here you can see the quarries of Custonaci. Marble City here on the west coast.
And on the left, the church, St. John the Baptist.
This one right here?
St. John the Baptist, straight ahead. See?
Amore, vieni qua. Si bruttando la faccia in talo fuori.
Judy.
Poesia così bella, la notte mai sapesse l'annullare, lascia la porta misa, spacazzetta.
The castle was actually a temple in
A
very
temple.
ancient times.
Dedicated to Venus.
Dedicated to the goddess Venus, so a pagan temple. We don't know much about the shape or the size of this temple because then it was completely dismantled by the Normans when they arrived here and built a castle instead of the temple. But inside the castle in the Middle Ages there was a church, Madonna della Neve, Our Lady of Snow, probably because also in the past it was snowing here every now and then.
And here it is, the Duomo, built by the will of Frederick in the 1300s during the time of very Gothic-y styles. This majestic tower is not touching the Duomo. It was built separately and initially was used as a watchtower. Obviously, we've spoken many times about the importance of watchtowers here in Sicily because you want to be up top to see what invaders, who's coming next. Along the Duomo, here on the side, are these 9 crosses. When Frederick III built this Duomo, he decided to put these here as a symbol that paganism was finished. I'm not sure why there are 9 of them, but it was made from the material that the Temple of Venus was made of. Frederick III dismantled the Temple of Venus and built the Duomo instead. For those of you with some walking knee back issues, I want you to look at the terrain. Very, very uneven. So just be aware, bring comfortable shoes, and when it's raining, be extra, extra careful. What's so great about this town, too, is that it's got its very own public garden. So plenty of shades to sit on, especially in a hot day like this. And it's very well kept. If someone had, let's say, 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours, what are the main spots that you would tell them to visit here?
For sure, the Duomo, the main church, and then the castle area with the nice public gardens and the views over Trapani and the seaside.
Grazie mille, Azul. Ida and Idu. In Erice, it's obligated to hug. If you look at Wikipedia and search for how many people live in Erice, it says about 20,000, I think. But actually, when you come up here, you're like, where is everyone? Well, only about 200 people live in this part of Erice. We are up top. The rest of the people live down below. So initially, a lot of them lived up here. And then after the unification, many of them moved down below at the foot of the mountain of St. Julian. Everywhere you go in the province of Trapani, you can find the Busiata Trapanese, limoncello from Erice. Let's see, Barbera olive oil from Palermo and Custonaci. The salt from Trapani, very, very important because of the salt flats that we have outside of Trapani and Marsala. This is a typical layout of the homes here in Erice, dating back to the Arab times when they built their courtyards right in the home, right inside the home. And so when the invaders came, really the only thing that they had to defend is the entrance because the rest of the house was closed. The city of Erice does a great job laying out all the places to visit. Amuni!
Come l'amore. A cantare io vorrei a navirdinetta. Di notte la tua porta spirtusiati. E vedere figlia mia quanto ti bella.
If you're watching this on June 15th, if you're a father, a grandfather, an uncle, a father figure, a big brother, happy Father's Day. Hey, here's a shout out to my Alfred, a father and an amazing grandfather. All right, Erice, by the way, is on our West Coast group tour of Sicily. All the info is at www.youmeandsicily.com. All our other tours are there as well. Let's see, that's about it. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. And thank you for supporting You, Me, and Sicily. And we'll see you back in Catania next week with something super fun and super new. All right, ciao.